Hello, my friends. Today I'm going to refinish this freestanding cabinet in our kitchen to match the rest of the kitchen. What we have in the kitchen is epoxy countertop with white doors and gray frames. So first thing I'm going to do is cover this thing with plastic all the way around to protect it, and then we're going to sand the top slightly, then apply our undercoat, which is a white paint, epoxy paint, and then we'll proceed with the epoxy. I finished sanding it. I used an 80 grit sandpaper to start out with. You could see how we took off some of the finish, and then I switched over to 150 just to get it smooth enough. Then the first thing you have to do is make sure you wipe it clean of all dust, 100%. Make sure there's absolutely no dust on it. We're gonna take this epoxy paint. It's a special paint for epoxy, so it sticks to it. It's a small area, so we don't need a whole lot of it. And I'm not going to put it in a pan or anything. Just pour it on there, and I have a foam roller here, very smooth, and just roll it back and forth. Not too heavy. You want a light cover the first round. Make sure you get the sides. The sides have a profile, so make sure you get everything in there. So we're gonna do one coat of this paint, wait about an hour, and give it a second coat before we proceed to do the epoxy finish. So the first coat of paint is finished. You see it's nice and smooth. We got all the edges. Again, we're going to give it about an hour before we do coat number 2. Also, it's a good idea to wrap your roller, brush, whatever you use, in a plastic bag to keep it from drying out, because it will dry out very, very quickly. So keep it in there nice and tight in a sealed plastic bag, Ziploc bag, whatever you have, until you're ready to reuse it. Then you can wash it out. It's been about an hour now. This is nice and dry. I went ahead and I sanded it very gently to make sure there's no bumps or lumps with that 150 grit. When I take out my roller from the plastic, it's still nice and soft. It didn't get dry on me. I'm gonna pour, just enough to get this area covered. And now we're gonna go ahead and apply the second coat. Again, very thin. We don't want it very heavy. Make sure, again, you get the edges. Okay, we waited about 3 hours. The top is nice and dry, no blemishes. Now what we're going to do is mix part A and part B epoxy. Part A is a resin. We're going to mix equal parts. So I'm going to use this cup for measurement. You don't need too much. I think 1 cup of each should do this top because it's not a very big top. So I'm going to stop short of a full cup. We're going to pour it in here. Now we're going to add part B, which is the hardener. We're also going to pour it in here. Okay, now I'm going to add some glitter to this. I have a combination of gray, silver gray, glitter, and a touch of black, because we don't want the black to overpower it. Just a touch of black. And we're going to go ahead and mix this for about 2 to 3 minutes inside this bucket. Nice and easy, don't go too fast. If you see it in there, it has some highlights of the glitter. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pour it on. We're gonna start in the middle of this cabinet, and then we'll go off to the sides. We have a trowel here that's about a quarter of an inch, eighth of an inch notches. So we're gonna pour this right in the middle first. And with the trowel, we're gonna move it around, spread it. Spread it all around. Don't go to the edges yet. We'll get to that later. Get it right to the edge and just move it around. It's going to leave a decent amount of material on top, which is exactly what we want. Don't worry about it, there's extra in there because it will fall off, it will roll right off the edge. Once you have the top covered, completely covered, even coats, as you drag it, the teeth on your trowel will only allow so much material to go through, so it's consistently thick. Now what we're going to do is come off here and bring it to the edge and allow it to roll right over the edge, which means it gives us nice clean coverage on the edges. So as you pull it, let it roll off the edge. Now that we have the whole thing covered, we're going to chop it. What chopping is, basically we take a brush and we dab it gently into the epoxy in a chopping motion. It does not have to be in a straight line. You can do it random. I like to do it random. What this does is mixes the materials together and also will remove any trowel marks that we may have. This thing looks choppy now. That's exactly what we want. But keep in mind, this is a self-leveling product. As soon as we stop chopping, it will start to solidify and it will also start to put itself together more or less, so it's smooth. So as soon as we're done with this chopping, we immediately take our torch and we would start to heat it up to get rid of the bubbles and make it stick. Now you turn this thing on and don't go too close, you don't want to burn it. So just go back and forth. Nice and easy, so you don't miss too many spots. And do the edge. So I'm going to do it from the side so you get a better view. Just go back and forth. This removes this process removes all the bubbles out of the top and also makes it start to set so it doesn't keep dripping and running off the edge. Here's a closer look at what it looks like. It's still very, very wet. It's going to take a while for it to settle in, and if we get real close, we get to see the sparkles in it that we intended. Okay, so we're gonna leave this. It's gonna let it dry overnight. Don't do anything to it, leave it alone. No fans, no heat, nothing, because it would create a problem. Let it dry naturally We're gonna come back tomorrow and apply a second coat as a clear coat to protect it. We waited about 10 minutes until it started to set. I'm gonna go ahead and torch it one more time just to make sure we got no more bubbles whatsoever left over. Looks really good. If you're not comfortable using the torch, you can use a heat gun. It will do the same thing. So I waited 24 hours and the epoxy is completely dried. Looks really, really nice, very sharp. Now what I'm going to do is remove the doors and the hardware so I can paint it two-tone, and then we'll come back and check out, see what it looks like. So I finished painting the frame in a dark gray, 2 coats. Now I'm going to do the doors. Now these doors have glass on them, so instead of taping and worrying about the paint getting all over the place, a little trick for you. Take some Vaseline. You could use a Q-tip or your finger, whatever you like, and just spread it around the edge. Because when you paint, you don't have to worry about touching the glass, because the Vaseline will be wiped off easily and the paint will not stick to your glass. So you don't have to worry about extra cleaning and scraping, what have you. It's a great trick. Try it. Okay, now that everything is nice and dry, I'm waiting for the doors to dry. I'm going to apply a coat of protective finish. It's a clear finish. It's a water-based finish that will protect it from scratching and other issues you usually have with painted cabinets. We've put a thin coat of this on. That's all we need. If you like to apply 2 coats, so be it. Final look. We finished. Put the doors back on. Put the new handles in. The top that we did yesterday. With the epoxy. The sides are beautiful gray. This came out really, really nice. I mean, a cabinet like this would cost you up to $1,000 to buy with this finish. We managed to do this whole thing for about $120. I hope you like this video. It's very helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Click like and subscribe. And thank you again for watching. See you on the next round.